Good afternoon, Amika. Leonard Parker here. Just in prep of our meeting on Friday, I prepared this video audit so that we'll have some talking points to start from during our call. And just to give you an idea on the different things that I'm looking at with your website and with your web presence and how I think we will be able to work together. So I'm on your homepage and very well designed. I kind of understand exactly what you're helping people do. Um, yeah, definitely very clear on what you do here. And I must say this is a admirable effort because student debt is, really wreaking havoc on our generation and not allowing us to really achieve some of our financial goals. So first, thank you to you and your team for coming up with a solution. Now, for your homepage and actually several of your pages, I noticed that they're not very well optimized on page-wise for SEO. So just for an example, this little box that just popped up, that's your title tag. And I noticed that as you can see, it says home and then hyphen people joy. So ideally, we would want that to include something that's keyword targeted. So just for example, I would put something like people joy hyphen help employees graduate from debt or help employees pay off student loans. Whatever is that phrase that you use to describe the offering, I think that should be included there. And we need to make sure that it includes the words help employees pay off debt, whatever that is. Kind of scrolling down a bit further here, let's definitely make sure we link to these different publications or these features in these publications in case someone, they're interested in seeing, a third party review of your platform. Yeah, pretty much everything else is in order. The only other thing I would add here, I would consider adding your video to your homepage. I know it's on your about page now, but I think it's a great way to kind of welcome people to your website, and they'll know from you exactly why People Joy was started and how you can help them or help them help their employees with their student debt situations. So other than that, on page is definitely something we need to work on here. You have all of the privacy policy terms and conditions. FAQ, I would consider adding that to your top level navigation, or at least adding it as a sub tab under the about section. So let's see what you have here on your FAQ page. So one thing I noticed outside of the home page that WordPress is adding these weird tags to the end of your slug. So I would suggest, I think I may be looking at the cached version of the website, but that's definitely something we want to clean up. We don't want that to be public at all. So this is really good. Yeah, this is good. This is good. So, I would just say, this is something that should probably always be in progress. When you do a quick Google search for help employees pay off debt, I always take a look at this featured snippet as a starting point. And, of course, some of these won't be relevant, but make sure that you are also hitting these questions that people are asking. And because the only reason why they're showing up is because people are actively searching for these. And we want to make sure that your FAQ page is structured with JSON LD schema. And I'll get into that a bit later, but there is a FAQ schema that you can use. I didn't find it here on your page, but we want to make sure that that's added. That way, Google's algorithm, the other search engine algorithms, they have the information they need to properly categorize the content on your site. Now, moving on to your About page. Very good here. I like what you did with the video. Great, you have a great team here, so that's always a good sign. I would say for your video, I noticed that it was on the Market Watch channel. I would recommend kind of just building your own branded channel on YouTube, because this is the type of thing where people might have questions about student loans. I know you've hit on several of them in your blog here, but sometimes people just rather consume that type of content via video. And that's a great way to position yourself as an expert, you and your team members as experts. And it's a great way for people. And I believe from what I've read that your target are HR executives or HR personnel and companies. It gives them another way to find you. And the reason why YouTube is so important, you can see here. So this one is not that, we don't see any videos in the search results. Let's take one of your other blog articles here. So why don't we just type how to choose a student loan counselor? You can see just from that drop down menu, there's a ton of different topics we can talk about here. So I actually don't see it here, but sometimes you'll see that there are 3 videos in the search engine results, and that's just your video carousel. And that's a great way. So not only are you ranking on a page organically, but you're also ranking with your video. You increase the probability that someone will click through to one of your branded content assets. So that's why video is very important. And of course, when you add it to your blog articles, it also gives them an SEO boost, because I'm sure Google owns YouTube. So anytime you use Google's properties with your own content, it definitely kind of helps give it an SEO boost. So highly recommended that you start incorporating more video there. If you or your team doesn't have capacity to create videos each time you blog, I would suggest a tool like Watch It, where it's very professional. You can add text to the video, and you can add nice background music as well. I'm sure you've probably seen this on CNN or BBC. They use something very similar, but it definitely gives your site visitors a different way to consume your content and find your content. So that's all about the About Us page. Looking at your blog page, so great job blogging regularly. I see that you guys definitely have made a commitment to producing regularly updated content. My only suggestion here would be to consider spacing out your content. So if I'm looking just in June here, I see that there have been 4 blog articles. So instead of having 3 the first week of June and then 2 on the same day, maybe we can have done something like, so the 4th, that would have been the article for that week. And then the next one would have been 11th, the 18th, and then the 25th. So that would have been published yesterday. And that's a great way to kind of space out your content. That way your audience or your, whoever's following you, they would have a kind of regular cadence on when can I expect new content from the team at PeopleJoy. And I saw that you're using WordPress, so that's pretty easy to configure. So recommended, but nevertheless, great job on the content. If we were to work together, I see that, I think I would be working very closely with your content manager. I missed her name here, but I'll be working very closely with her. And the value that I can add, I can definitely kind of do that competitor research. So seeing what other companies in your niche, what are they talking about on their video or on their blog, and then kind of figuring out ways we can go one step further than they are. And that's really how you win in content. So the good news is that you are focused on a specific student loan help, or you're basically helping employees help them with their student loans. So highly recommend it. That I work closely with is her name Roxana? Yes, Roxana, just to ensure that we're going about this in the best way possible in regards to SEO. And then, of course, once the content is published, we can figure out a workflow where either I do the SEO optimizations before the content is published, or I can do it once it's live. Just depends on what best fits with your current workflow. But yeah, great job there. Now, I would say I've checked out your Facebook page, your Facebook business page. Um, so I would say you guys are doing a great job sharing content here. Maybe, one recommendation is that you take one blog article and then really just split it up to where you have different digestible chunks that you can share on your social media. I think that's a great way to kind of get more posts out of one article. So again, that's something, I'm not sure if you're doing this automatically with a plugin or if you're posting manually, but that's something that we can configure, with a number of plugins. Now, looking at your technical SEO, just looking at your JSON LD schema. So I see that you do have something here, the web page schema. I think for a startup, I usually like to see the organization schema as well. I think that's a great, kind of just gives Google's algorithm and other search engine algorithms more information about your company. I would also like to see some what are called same as schema. And basically what that means is that we would take every high authority article that's linking to your website or has your branding on it, and then add what's called people or same person as schema to the backend of WordPress, and then actually link those third-party placements with you. So for example, if you've been featured on MarketWatch and some of these other publications, we would put in a schema snippet that those links are also referring to you or to PeopleJoy. And from there, we would add that as schema to your site. And really the idea here is, I saw that you have an engineering background, so I'm sure you'll understand this part. We have your website, but we also have these other entities that are related to your website. And that's really how you succeed long-term in SEO is, not only are you just putting out content on your site, but are you an actual brand? And you've already done a great job getting these press mentions. So let's, on the back end, connect everything so that you're getting the full benefit. So that's would be one of my recommendations for your technical SEO. The other recommendation, of course, page website speed is always important. My goal would be 2 to 3 seconds for load speed. And depending on who your competitors are, we can take a look at their websites to see where they're averaging on site speed. But usually you just kind of want to be a bit faster than your competitors. And speaking of competitors, I think that is something I would like to discuss, because I'm not quite sure. I saw that there was this one company. Wait, let's go back. I believe you pronounced their name Gratify. But let's build a list of competitors, because that's a starting point for doing keyword research, for doing content topic research, and then also looking at backlinks. And that's where I'll end my video. So backlinks, I'm sure you understand the concept. I have a website. I'll link to you from my website to your site, and that's how you get a backlink. And this has always been a very important part of Google's algorithm. I think Google values these more heavily than some of the other search engines, but still they're very important because they're basically votes of confidence for your website. And from what I see here, using a tool called Ahrefs, you have some really good backlinks here. And I would just, kind of my starting point would be to do a gap analysis of you and your competitor websites to see what are some other opportunities out there where we can get backlinks to your site. Because this is really where, looks like I was timed out, but this is really where you're going to get your referral traffic and build your brand visibility. So in addition to backlinks and just promoting your content on sites like Medium or other sites similar to Medium, this is really where SEO kind of overlaps with PR a bit. And so I've actually worked with another. Well, he started off as a blogger, and now he has a consulting company. The name of that company is Student Loan Planner. And we really saw spikes in traffic and really saw the business take off when we really made a commitment to promoting on social media, not just promoting content, but taking the approach of building a community there where people comment on your content regularly, and you can really engage with people there. The other trigger where we really saw explosive growth is, getting these press mentions and getting mentioned in, places like the Rolling Stone, for instance, or wherever your target audience, whatever publications they would be reading online. And then secondly, you might want to explore the possibilities of doing podcasts. So there are many podcasts out there that target financial services and especially student loan debt. So I'm sure there are some opportunities out there if that's something that you're looking for. So Mika, hopefully this video has been helpful. This is very high level. I don't like to get too detailed, but kind of just to give you an idea of some of the major points I'm looking at with your website and with your online brand. So looking forward to our call on Friday. But if you have any questions before then, feel free to reach out. Take care and have a great rest of your Wednesday.